Hi, and today on Brookvalleylife we're going to start building our bow. And hello and welcome back. Today we've got the bow all set up now, so we've got the new string, we've got the arrows fletched, got your pins, got your nocks, got your points, cut to the right length, right spine. So today we're going to take a look at the bow and look at setting up the bow itself, getting the arrows sitting correctly, center shot, or stuff like that. And all we're going to use to do that is a set of Allen keys, a set of blocks. Now you can spend a lot of money on these by buying the brand name ones, or you can buy the cheap ones. AliExpress, thank you very much, $2.50. Excuse me, tough day at work. And that's what I've got. And of course you might want eyeball, which you're going to be checking your center shot with. We'll talk about that now. So here's our bow all ready to go. No knocking point yet because I will need to set the arrows first. So first thing I want to do is take my arrow, just put it onto the center serving and put it onto the arrow rest. Now, as you can see, as it sits, excuse me, it's not sitting in the center. See if I can get that a bit closer. Yeah, so you want it so it's sitting like that perfectly. So this arrow rest needs to come up. Excuse me. No, I don't have COVID. We don't have it here in New Zealand, luckily. So what I'm going to do is just adjust the arrow rest. I'll adjust that so it's sitting nice in the center of the button, and then I'll come back to you. So I've done that now. So if you have a look down, hang on a second, let me just take you down. Hopefully you can see. There we go. The arrow is sitting directly in the center of the button, and the arrow rest itself is just holding the arrow, and it's holding it right at the end so it's not sticking out so far. So that's what we want. So that's that bit done. Now we want to look at the center shot, and by center shot we need to have the arrow in position. We need to line up the string in the center of the limbs. To do that, there's where these blocks come in. What we're going to do with these blocks is we're just going to attach them to the limbs, whichever way around fits, because limbs are different sizes and they can be. So what you've got is limb top and bottom, and what you're going to do is line it up like that so the string is in the center of those two lines and it's going straight through the center of the bow. So we'll do that top and bottom. Get it the right way around. There we go. Now you can line it up through the two locking screws for your limb bolts and through the center of the handle. And what you want to do is line those up, get your arrow, put your arrow about where you need it to be. Go through and have a look where the point. Now what they say usually is once it's all lined up, top and bottom, it'll also tell you if you've got any twist in your limbs, because they should be spot on all the way through. These look quite good. What you want is the point of the arrow just to the left hand side of your string as you look at it. So as you're looking at your string, you want the tip of the arrow really, let me do it up against me. So as you're looking down, you want the tip of the arrow just to the left hand side. It's real difficult to show of that string line. And this is pretty spot on actually. I've been quite lucky. So what I want to do is lock my button in position. So I've just screwed it up, take my Allen key, and hopefully find where the hole is for the Allen key. Let me bring it out so you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. So hopefully you can see there's a little Allen headed screw just there that clamps on. I've just got to get the right size one. I've got so many Allen keys here. Trying to find the right one is going to be fun. So I'll go to this. And I reckon it must be about that one. Perfect. Now I want to screw that in so it's tight. And that is so your button doesn't come loose. Definitely something you don't want happening. Because if your button comes loose when you're shooting, your arrows are going to go all over the place. Oops, daisy. It's quite tight. Just check, make sure that's. Oh no, that's still. That's what we want. Hopefully. Sorry, this one's a bit all over the place today. Now, this button's quite good because as you can see I can screw in and out. And by screwing in and out on this end bit, it changes the plunger tension. Now we won't know about that until we start shooting. However, an easy way of adjusting your plunger tension, if you've got an old button and you've got a new button, you're coming in, get them together, put them, push them, and if they both go in at the same, they're about the same tension. And of course, because I'm shooting lower poundage than I have been, I may want it a bit softer, I may want it a bit harder. So let's have a look. That might be just about perfect, looking at that. But I can adjust it as and when I need to. So I'm going to lock that off in that position. Make sure it's still okay. Seems good. Centre shot done. That was simple. The other thing I'm going to do quickly, again, is check my brace height, make sure it's not moved, shouldn't have. 23.4. Check my tiller. I'll start off hopefully with 0 tiller. So that's 19.3. 19.2. So I've got a millimetre more at the top. That's where I'm going to start off. I'm not going to bother with that. So I'm using millimetres because that's what I've been brought up with, which is decimal stuff. If you want to use imperial, yeah, just crack on, do whatever you want. I'm just telling you what I'm using. So that's everything done. So the only other thing we need to do now, as this is a new bow, is set up the clicker for when I start shooting the arrows. I'm not going to do that now. I want to put on some knocking points for the arrows so they don't slide up and down. After that, we can then start looking at shooting the bow. The fun bit. But overall, that's the bow put together. Set up quickly just for so we can start shooting. So the arrow rest, the button, got the sight block. We'll talk about the sight where I want to put it for when I start shooting. The new string that I made. If your string becomes dry, if you're shooting and shooting and shooting, especially in the weather, and it becomes dry, there's stuff out there called bowstring wax. That's a boning one. I've got some other ones as well. And all you do is you just rub it on, rub it in, and it rejuvenates the string. If you're shooting in rain, good idea to put some bow wax on your string, because it'll stop the string taking in water and slowing it down. If it slows down, your sight marks are going to change, because the string is going slower, the arrows are going slower, the arrows are hitting lower. It happens. I've had it happen to me shooting in rain, so it's just something you've got to think about when you're shooting in different types of weather. So that's it for now. Next thing we'll do is put some nocking points on. Catch you shortly. So welcome back, and today I'm going to look at putting some nocking points on, and just to show you how I do it, there are different ways of doing this. This is how I do it. I'll just stipulate that one. So what do I need to do my nocking points? I don't use the brass ones. I use just a piece of serving, top and bottom, simple as that. And this is, what is this? This is BYC braided serving 8.850, I think it is, nylon. It's just red. It's going to show up well on the black center serving, and it's quite thin and quite hard. So I'll just, there we go. Hopefully you can see what I've got. So braided serving, everything on there, and I don't know if you can see, that's all it is, nice and thin. I will need my square, my bow square. This is a cartel one, cheap one. It's aluminium. I've had this for, crikey, nearly 15 years now, from when I first picked my bow up. It's one of the first tools you should always get. Just clips onto the string, clips in through there, holds it in position, and I'll show you how we use that for setting the serving. Knife, just to cut off the ends if needs be, and just some cheap super glue. Oh, there we go. There, super glue. This is real cheap stuff. You can get the super glue in the little plastic bottles. That's good. That lasts forever. Hopefully this is okay. I can't remember last time I used this. Are we going to get anything out? I might need to whack a pin in this one just to see if I can get anything to come out. Again, this is, oh crikey. Ah, there we go. So, am I going to get anything out? Yeah, there's a little bit in there. Cool. That's all I need, is just a little bit. It's just to stick the ends and make sure it doesn't fray when you're shooting. So that's all you need. And of course you need your bow. So what I'll do now is I'll go and get my bow, just set it up on my lap, and you can see what I do. So for ease of doing this, I've removed the sight, I've removed my stabilizers, and just resting it on between my legs like that, and it sits quite nicely, usually. There we go. So what I want to do is I take my bow square. This is going to go onto the arrow rest, so I clip it on like that, so it's on both sides, spin it round so it rests on the arrow rest as your arrow would, just like that. So as you can see there, it's just resting on the rest itself, and I can read off from this end. Hopefully you can see where the center is, where the bottom is, and I can work out from there. And what I want to do is I want to bring my serving between 3/8 and 1/4 of an inch up for the lower one. So I get my serving. There we go. So I'm just going to cut a piece off, about, give myself plenty to work with. So what's that? Just over 12, 13, 14 inches. It's a 300mm. Cut that off, all nice and tight. So I take my serving, I'd pass it through between the string and the bow square. Get it about the same length, and I just put an overhand knot in. I don't do it up tight at the moment, because what I want to do is just lay that down so I can see where it is. And of course my eyesight is such that I should wear corrective glasses, but I don't. So that is just above 3/8 of an inch. Then I just pull it tight, simple as that. Pull tight. Let me bring you up a fraction. You can see what I'm doing. Maybe there. Hopefully. Yep. So I've done that, and I've got the overhand loop facing me, facing up. If I want to, and that's tight enough, I can remove the bow square completely. And now, get this right, all I'm going to do is bring those tab ends, the long ends, underneath, do another loop, bring that tight together, but instead of being on top, it's slightly away from where the arrow is going to sit. So that's on the bottom. Now I bring the tabs, bring them up to the top, overhand loop, and it just lays across, and I just go down a short way. I'll only go down about 3 or 4 turns. That's what it'll look like. As you can see, I just nip it. I don't have to hang off it. And you don't want these too big. So when I get down to the end, so that's 3 turns, I will do one more, 4. Let me just bring that up so you can see. Hopefully you can see how that's gone down, and she's just sitting there. Now I could leave it like that, put another overhand knot in there and just glue it off, but I prefer, so I've done on that on top, I prefer to come back over and do a double layer. So I do an overhand loop, sorry this is getting a bit slippy, and I bring it back on top of what I've done, so I'm bringing it this way. So on top, one underneath, on top, and it should fit perfectly into the grooves that you've got, that you've made for that first row, which I've done. Now I've got to the end. Now this is where you've got to think, okay, how do I want to finish this off? So what I do is I do an overhand loop at the top and bring the loop all the way back this way, so it fits just there. Boom. And then I just tie another overhand knot, like a granny knot, just to there. Done. That's me. That's the bottom one done. So I take a pair of scissors, a knife, cut the ends of my tabs off. Done. Now what I would normally do here is leave it like that. Go and shoot. Make sure it's in the right position. I know that 3/8 of an inch to a quarter of an inch is just perfect for my shooting. If I needed to, I could cut that off, move it up a fraction, move it down a fraction, depends where my arrows are hitting. So what I'm going to do for this one, this is what I'd normally do, is take my super glue, but I'm not actually, because I know that's perfectly in position for me. I'm going to get an arrow. Let's see if I can find one that I haven't fletched. There we go. So I don't want a fletched arrow if possible. And I want to put another set of knock-ins on the top end. So what I do is I get my arrow and my nock, put it on. As you can see, that clipped on perfectly, but is loose enough to move up and down. So that's a really good knot fit. Sitting there. So I just want to put some more serving on the top side of the bow, just so this will hold in place and the back end won't move around. Because if the back end is moving around, you are not going to be consistent of where the arrow is sitting, and when it leaves the bow, it could be facing up, facing down. So you want to get it as tight as possible, but not too tight so it will hold it and won't come off the serving properly. So there we go. The other thing you can use, which I have in the past, is dental floss. That's fantastic. Very, very light. I went to this just because it's a bit more hard wearing. So we'll do the same thing again. Underneath, about the same length. Put my first loop in. Get it into a position where I want it. And that's just about perfect there. Cut the ends off. Perfect. Now this is what I do. I take and I just dab it on. I get it to soak in. Doesn't have to be a lot. So you've got to get it coming out. So it's just coming out there. Just dab on the end. Yeah, this super glue isn't very good. I've had it for a while, but I need to get some new stuff. But it will do the job. You can get the super glue on the serving, I find, on the outside, so not the where the arrow's sitting, because what it can do is build up and make it tough for you to get the arrow on and of course off. Yeah, this is usually a lot more liquid, so this is old stuff. The more liquid the better, because it soaks in. As you can see, that isn't liquid, that's gooey, more like a gel, and this stuff shouldn't be like a gel, but it will work. And this stuff's cheap, even here in New Zealand. So that's it done. Knocking points in position, glued. Once that's dried, be ready to shoot. That's the centre shot done. The knocking points now in place, all glued up and ready to shoot. What we have left to do on the bow is add some of the peripherals, so stabilizers, sight, and we should be then ready to start shooting. So join me in the next episode where we put everything together and get the bow ready to shoot and ready to start tuning. If you've liked what you've seen, please hit the subscribe button. If you've liked it, hit the like, and there's some other buttons you can hit if you want to. So enjoy yourself, keep practicing, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye bye.